Hey everybody, we are just getting everything together and we'll be going live with Brad. Hi! In just a few minutes. We'll give everybody some time to hop on, so bear with me. Okay. We will dig in, and this call is being recorded, so if you guys want to share it, you can. Make sure everybody is muted. Okay. And yeah, the chat option is open, so if you guys want to ask questions, you are more than welcome to. Tonight we have Brad, who's going to be speaking on our team call. I don't have any announcements or anything, so I'm just going to dig right in. You know, I think a lot of times as new coaches and even old, we, you know, have a lot of struggles with mindset in this business. I think older coaches still struggle with the same kind of things that we did as new coaches. You know what I mean? Like the objections and, you know, oh, I didn't hit this goal, or, oh, I feel like I should be so much further than I am right now, or, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of different things can happen in this business. And, you know, it's just hard to keep going sometimes and hard to have that positive mindset most of the time or all the time. So I was excited when Brad said he wanted to talk about mindset and pushing through and things like that. So I think it's perfect timing for this kind of topic. Brad is a 5-star diamond coach. He is 6-star diamond in his wife's business. So it's like, what, 11? You're technically 11-star or more. He's an SC10 legend. You guys, he's hit Success Club 10 for 49 months in a row. 49. That screams consistency, and I don't think there's any coach in this business that is successful that doesn't have, oh, combined 6, good. So it doesn't have, you know what I mean, that consistency aspect, that Success Club, you know, freaking is a non-negotiable, if we have to be honest. He's a full-time coach. So I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you just kind of take over the call, okay?
Sweet. That sounds great. I am pumped to talk to you guys today. Raina, it is always just so much fun every time I get to see you. It always just makes me smile. And I think, guys, before I get into my main kind of spiel tonight that I want to go through with you guys, can we all just take a minute and celebrate the leader that you guys have? Like, just for a second, like, how freaking grateful are we to have someone like her in our life, leading through inspiration, vulnerability, passion, hope, right? It's just incredible. So throw something in the chat box real quick about why you are so freaking grateful for Raina in your life. And I think we all need to take a second and celebrate that, because oftentimes it's overlooked. Not everyone has that type of leadership and that type of love being poured into them. And I just think it's amazing. And Raina, I appreciate you and everything you do. I think it's important that we all celebrate that. So let's dive in as the comments roll in for Raina and as she blushes and all that stuff. So I want to be totally honest with you guys. My business crashed and burned this year. Totally, just crashed and burned. How many of you guys have ever experienced a hardship in your business? Anybody? Anyone? No? Just a couple of us? Okay, all of us, good. So how many of you guys have ever pushed really, really really hard thing only to come up short. Anybody? Anybody? Cool. I'm glad. Me too. So our team has missed elite every time we have pushed for it. Let me just repeat that. We've missed elite every time we have pushed for it. I remember saying to myself when it started I started to notice this, I remember saying to myself on January 1st, 2015, this is our year. We're going to do this. And I thought if I'd hit elite, I would just be so incredibly happy. And I set this goal along with my success partners, and we pushed and we fought. We did everything we possibly could. And December 31st, 2015 came around, and our team woke up 3 points shy of missing elite. 3 points shy of missing elite. And I was proud of my team that I could represent them on stage as a premier team. But there was that little voice in my head, right, that just whispered to me, dude, you could have been more, right? You should have been more. Why didn't you guys do it? You failed as a leader. You don't deserve elite. And shit, guys, like it hurt, right? It was like a weird mix of proud and devastated at the same time. And there was that voice in my head. And it beat me down to the ground because at the same time that I didn't hit elite, there go all my friends that I partnered with to push for elite, hitting it and crushing it out of the park. And even coaches that I had personally mentored hitting elite. And there goes my self-confidence, right? Down to the shitter. And I remember watching all of them at Summit this next year. And I had this weird blend of proud and devastated. Proud and destroyed, right? I thought to myself, why aren't I as good as them? Like, why aren't I a good enough leader? And last year, same thing happened. Went for it again. Claimed it at the beginning of the year. Went for it and fought with everything I could. And we woke up in the beginning of the new year, a 2-star diamond team with 90 elite points. We went backwards. And not only have we missed the rank, but we missed the points too. There go all my friends crushing it again, right? And there goes that same little voice. Why aren't you good enough? Why aren't you a good enough leader? Why have they been able to do this and you haven't, right? Why are you hitting such high success club points, but nothing's coming of it, right? All these negative voices. Only this time, something was different because I'd grown, I'd matured. I did something to change my mindset. And the reason I bring that up is because I want you guys to be totally honest. How many of you have fought so hard for a goal to come up short and you feel worthless or hopeless or destroyed or bummed out or pissed off? Show of hands, right? Every single person on this call should be raising their hand, right? And how many of you guys have had like situations where rock star coaches join your team and then they disappear? And then you see your friends signing their rock star coaches and they just crush it, right? I mean, you guys ever had that situation? How many of you guys have ever been working really, really hard at something and maybe you're a newer coach and another new coach joins the business and they start getting it right away? And you're going, what the hell? This isn't fair. Like, what's going on? And then what about a situation where you join a push group, like a push to diamond or, a push to 2-star, and, you're really excited about it and you're going for it. You're doing everything you can. And there's all these other people having way more success. And you just start to think to yourself, why aren't I as good? Like, what am I missing? Something's off here. Have you guys ever had those situations happen before? Me too. And they all lead to comparison, right? They all are comparison. And they all get you off course. And it takes the fun out of what we do as coaches. How many of you guys have ever been in that situation and then the next day you just kind of feel like, this isn't as fun as it used to be? And they hurt, right? Like, that hurts emotionally to feel like you're in second place or to have all your friends walk across stage and you watch them from the audience. It hurts to feel like you're talented and still not seeing results. And it hurts to push for elite and miss it, right? And it hurts to have that little voice in your mind saying you were never good enough. And I've experienced that more often than I can even begin to express on this call. But the reason I bring that up is because it doesn't matter if it hurts. Because one thing I've learned, guys, is that pain in your life is guaranteed. Shit's going to hit the fan at some point. Pain in your life is guaranteed, and I can promise you that it's coming in some way, but suffering from that pain is completely up to you. It's your choice. And I cannot think of a better example in the entire network than your leader who has chosen not to suffer from pain. And you can look at this in one of two ways, guys. You can look at it and you can say, and we got someone unmuted. You can look at it in one of two ways, guys. You can say that you're better. You can say that you're not good enough. You can say you don't deserve this. Or you can celebrate their success and you can choose to make it mean that it's possible for you too. You can see it and say, okay, that means that I can do this since they crushed it, right? But sitting there and comparing yourself is the thief of joy in this business, and it takes the fun out of what we do, because all you're going to do is stare at them having success, and you're going to be spending your business time watching them, and you're going to get burnt out because you're going to spend all this time on Beachbody when really you're not doing anything. You're just watching your neighbor. And all those people that you want to follow you and to connect with you and to be inspired by you, not the other coach, you, they're not going to feel your energy. They're not going to be able to tell that your heart's in this. And because of that, they're not going to reach out. So it means that we're literally controlling what we put out there. And if we're comparing ourselves to other people, it means we're intentionally toning down our energy because we believe we're not good enough and we're okay if no one's inspired by us. That's what comparing does. It's an act of violence on yourself, because those people that you're watching, they have a different market. They have a different story. They have completely different life circumstances. They are not you. So quit focusing on them and run your own race. Like, you have to focus on your vision. If I were to spend my time every day watching Raina Odell and her numbers and hitting Success Club and rank advancing and hitting Million Club and all these amazing things, if I spent all of my time staring at the fact that I have not achieved that, how motivated do you think I'd be? I'd be dogging it, right? But I'm not looking at that and comparing myself, right? I'm not looking at Raina. I'm not looking at Bonnie. I'm not looking at Jamie, right? I'm not looking at Lindsay Matway. I'm looking at the people that I can inspire with my message. I'm looking at retiring her from her job. I'm looking at changing someone's life. So you need to remember that comparison is the thief of all joy in Beachbody. And anything, right? It doesn't allow you to focus on your goals, because we hit the road, we take off going 80 miles an hour. And when you compare, you're going 80 miles an hour, you might be flooring it, but you're flooring it looking out the window. And what happens when you do that? You crash and you burn. So watch your road and don't ever take your eyes off of it. That will help with comparison. We all face it. Everyone's guilty. But there are still times when we hit those slumps, right? Times where we don't control our mindset. Times where we feel weak or hopeless, right? Times where we know exactly what we need to do, but there's that lack of drive, right? Like almost like your computer is staring at you, and like you see it in the corner, and you know you have to go and send out those invites today. You know that needs to happen, and you care so much, but at the same time, Game of Thrones looks pretty good, right? It's like you care so much, but you just don't care at the same time. You guys know what I'm talking about? I felt that, right? There's that little bit of a lack of drive when your mindset's in a bad place, and it feels like you're trying to force a fire to start in the middle of a hurricane, right? That's what it feels like. And you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, but no matter how hard you push, it just feels like there's no energy to give, right? I've been in that spot. That's where personal growth and calls like this and Super Saturday and Summit are non-negotiables, because guys, if you learn to think correctly when you're down, and that is a skill that you can develop, you learn to think correctly when you're down, it is much shorter of a period of time before you get back up and you have that fire lit again. You're talking to someone that was the king of comparison. I thought I deserved all this success. I work out on stage with Autumn at the events, right? And I have since I did the 21-day fixed test group back in the day. I initially thought that to mean because I was friends with a trainer, I deserve success by association, right? Like that, because I was friends with successful coaches, I deserve success by association, right? And then I found myself in these groups of successful people and didn't have a business that was successful myself. And I'd compare myself. And my business crashed and burned. I'm talking 2.5 years, guys, of ego-driven, selfish, negative self-talk that just craved validation. And I'd find myself in these groups of those successful people, and I compared, right? I compared, and it hurts, right? And I thought about quitting. I thought about quitting coaching. And I'm so passionate about this, but I thought about quitting. all those thoughts went through my head about like, I'm not good enough, or they have it easier, or why does this always happen to me? Or just negative thoughts about why I'm not capable. And those thoughts ran through my head like this uncontrollable river that I couldn't stop. And it happened multiple times a week where I'm sitting on the couch and I had to find a way to get out of that slump. Where I'm sitting on the couch and I need to get back to that computer. And I know I need to, but I just don't have the drive or the motivation. That happened multiple times a week for a couple of days, right? And I'd get 1 or 2 productive business days in. And it happened almost every couple of days. But you know that feeling where you're doing really good and you go from A to B, maybe you get to Emerald or you get to Diamond. You go from A to B and you're doing really good. And then right before you get to C, there's like this big, massive wall of self-sabotage that smacks you in the face, right? Where life tries to get in the way, right? And it takes over your life and sends you right back to A. I had to learn how to adjust my thinking so I could break through C and finally get to D. Right? I had to learn how to adjust my thinking to get out of those slumps faster. And I worked this past year so hard on my mindset, more than my business. I worked on my mindset more than my business. I focused on personal growth. And something interesting started to happen. Those periods of stress and anxiety and depression and craving validation and victim and just sitting on the couch staring at that computer that happened multiple times a week started to happen once a week. Then later on, it was once every 2 weeks. Then it was once a month. Then it was once every 3 months. Then it was once every 6 months. Now when it happens, I know how to beat it instantly. Those are the cobwebs of your business that you'll have to get through if you want your why to come to fruition. How you think when you're down determines how long it's going to be until you get back up. People ask me all the time, dude, you just seem so bubbly and happy, right? How are you just so annoyingly happy all the time? And I'm not perfect at this, right? There are still times when I get in those slumps. They come. But I've trained and figuratively rewired my mind to respond to situations differently. So I want to walk you through what I do to train my mind that way, to where now, even when I miss a goal, I'm still happy. So every morning, I do an exercise called priming. Any Tony Robbins fans out there? I do an exercise called priming. Okay, priming is it's a 14-minute audio. I can send it to Raina after the call. Just www.tonyrobbins.com/momentum. At the bottom of the page, there's a 14-minute audio file. And it takes 14 minutes. And if you don't have 14 minutes, you don't have a life, you have 14 minutes, right? And what it does is it helps you focus on things that you're grateful for and what you want. Guys, if you want to cure comparison, if you want to cure pain, if you want to cure depression, anxiety, overwhelming odds in your life, get grateful. It is impossible to feel pain when you are truly grateful. And I can respect that when you're in those states of mind and you're already in the dumps, it's very hard to feel grateful. But this exercise forces you to go there. And I want to do an exercise with you right now that will help with this. So everyone close your eyes. Actually do this. Close your eyes. And I want you to remember the worst memory of your life. Positive talk, Brad. Remember the worst memory of your life. And I want you to put yourself, don't close your eyes if you're driving, by the way. Kate, don't close your eyes. Keep your eyes closed, though. And I want you, everyone keep your eyes closed. And I want you to remember that worst memory of your life. And I want you to put yourself in that situation like you're there. Feel what you felt in that exact moment of just intense pain. What were you breathing like? What did you feel? What did you see in that exact moment? Keep your eyes closed. Shake your body out. And now, with your eyes closed, I want you to remember something in your life, a memory from your past, that you can feel such deep feelings of gratitude for. What's a memory from your past? Picture it in your mind with your eyes closed. Was it when you had your first child? Was it when you got married? When was it for you? What was the best memory of your life? And I want you to go there right now. Go in that place. Breathe the same way. Actually feel it. Breathe like you did in that exact moment. Passion, joy, happiness, all of it. Just breathe the same way you did then. Feel what you felt then right now, like you're there, like it's happening right in front of you. Put yourself in that environment and just appreciate it for a second. Just appreciate that feeling in your life. Imagine it and focus on it. Just be grateful that you experienced it. Now open your eyes. Did you even focus on that intense pain you focused on a second ago when you were in that state of gratitude? It didn't even cross your mind. When you were in that state of pain, you were focused on horrible emotions. When you were in that state of gratitude, you were grateful, you were feeling appreciative. Both had a very different emotion. You literally just proved to yourself right now that you are in 100% control of your emotions 100% of the time. You just proved that to yourself because you changed from sad to truly grateful like that, just from changing your focus. So apply that to your life, right? Think about when shit hits the fan, right? And you wake up and your kid breaks his arm, your dog craps on the carpet, you're sitting in traffic on the way to work, your boss makes you stay late, whatever it is that goes on, you get home, your kid's already in bed, your husband or wife's all pissed off at you. That's a pretty bad day in most people's world, right? That's a pretty bad day. Would your entire day change if before your feet hit the ground, you went to that state of mind you went to a second ago? Would your entire day change? There was traffic. Would you bitch about it? Sorry if there's kids there. Would you bitch about it? Or would you say, you know what? I'm just so grateful I have a job. Or if I'm in the bottom 1% of this country, I'm in the top 1% of the world. There are parents out there that don't know how they're going to get their kids water or food today. There are families that just got blown up by an explosion today, literally today, right? There are people that no longer have homes underwater right now. When we're complaining about what our boss gives us at work, come on guys, have some perspective, right? Like think about that. Would your entire day change if you were truly grateful every single day that you started your day? How's your day going to change? If you alter your perspective a little bit, if you primed your mind, right? That's what that exercise does, that priming exercise does. Like think about how much your happiness would change, and think about when you're inviting, when you're sharing on social media, how much easier it's going to be to come up with some great content or an energetic invite to send to them when you're in a positive, grateful state of mind. Yeah, and right now I can send that over to you afterwards just to make sure it's the right one. But your day would go differently, right? Your view of life, guys, literally determines your future. Your view of life, it does. It determines your entire future. So every single day, condition your mind to focus on being truly grateful, and slowly the anxiety, the overwhelm, the depression, the fear, you're going to slowly start not noticing it as much. And you're going to become excited every single day. And you might be someone who claims that they're full of anxiety all the time, or someone that says they're a depressed person. And you might be saying, Brad, you don't understand, right? And I very much respect you if you feel that way. And yes, 100% agree. There are predispositions to feeling that way. All I'm saying is, why are you tolerating reinforcing it every day? If there is even a chance that this whole gratitude thing really works, wouldn't it be worth practicing daily? Guys, if you're stressed out in your life, it is a code word for fear. That's what stress is. It is a code word for fear. And stress comes from associating the meaning that something's more important than it really is. That's stress. Let's even talk about Success Club. Raina said at the beginning of the call, Success Club is a non-negotiable. You just do it. But we get so stressed about it that we push it away because all we're focusing on is not hitting it. So we get so stressed about Success Club. But think about it. If you miss Success Club, did you die? You're going to be fine, right? So quit stressing about it. Like think about overwhelm. Overwhelm is fear. That is overwhelm. Overwhelm literally means you have a laundry list of things to do and you haven't picked a top priority. That is overwhelm, right? You can fix it by picking a priority. Perfection. It's just fear of what happens if things don't go 100%. Right? And Tony Robbins talks about how it's the lowest possible standard you could have because it's impossible. It's lower than doing the minimum, right? So all it is operating around fear. That stress is just fear. So if you train your mind the same way you train your body, you condition your mind to work this way, you'll be happy. You're talking to the guy that had a victim complex that craved validation most of his life. I am not the same person I was a couple of years ago. I've trained and figuratively rewired this thing, and now my default setting is genuinely happy. And I don't care how much or how little of serotonin or dopamine you don't have or do have. Either way, The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of your emotions on a second-to-second basis. You literally just proved that you can change your emotions in a second when you did that gratitude exercise. You just proved to yourself that you are in control of your emotions, right? Because in any moment in time, you can be upset about anything because what's wrong is always available to you. There is always something wrong. You can always find something that's wrong, but you can also always find something that's right. You can push against your problems instead of giving into them. Everybody has problems. Everyone. And the only people that don't are dead. They're in cemeteries. If you don't have a problem, you don't have a life, right? Problems, Tony Robbins says, problems are literally the resistance that you push against to sculpt the character of who you are. That's a problem. So take this and make the primary emotions of life the ones you actually want because you control it. And when you view your life as amazing and extraordinary, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you. And people give it back. If one person on this call is affected by my words, from me viewing my life as extraordinary, if one person is affected, the ripple effect is magnetic, right? If just one life is changed, that can happen from you changing your mindset too. So we've talked about comparing. Talked about gratitude, rewiring our mind. That's amazing. And remember, this is still a process. So let's say that you've started to do that. There's still going to be that resistance that shows up, right? And that happens when your mind plays tricks on you and you become so attached to a goal coming true that your self-worth is dependent upon that goal. To diamond coming true, to success club coming true, to 5-star coming true. When you literally think, I am a bad leader if I don't get to this goal, or I'm a bad coach if I don't hit Success Club, or I am a bad whatever it is, that's what happens when you're attached, right? When your self-worth takes a little bit of a hit if you miss a goal. How many of you guys have ever felt this way, where you find yourself pushing so hard for a goal, and no matter how hard you push for it, it feels like it's just further away, right? I'd hit Success Club 10, more than that, 20, 30, and it felt like nothing was happening, right? Like, how many of you guys have ever had that mindset where if this doesn't happen, I'm a bad coach, or if this doesn't happen, I'm not a good leader. If I don't hit 5-star, I don't deserve to have a great, successful team, right? How many of you guys have ever felt that way, where it's such a must happen that your worth is dependent upon it in some way? What happens if you're in that state of mind? What happens if you try really hard for a goal and you come up short, which, by the way, that happens when you set goals sometimes. What happens when you have that state of mind where this is an absolute must, or you're a bad coach and you come up short? You feel pretty crappy, right? And you feel like your self-worth took a little bit of a hit. And let me guess, A to B, B to C, massive wall of self-sabotage, right back to A. When you get into that slump, right? There's a reason it's happening. The reason it's happening is because you're skipping an essential ingredient to happiness and success, which is acceptance of the facts of the situation. And if you accept what's actually going on and stop playing these BS stories in your mind, you're going to be so much more free. So take out a sheet of paper, and I want you to draw 2 circles next to each other, 2 big circles. This exercise is the exercise that changed my entire life. If you really focus on it, it can make an impact on yours too. 2 big circles right next to each other. And above the left circle, I want you to label it, my story about what happened. Above the left circle, my story about what happened. And above the right circle, I want you to label it, the fact. So the left, my story about what happened, the right circle, the fact. Let's talk about the idea of Success Club. You can do this with any goal that you have. And if you're in Success Club regularly, and that's like a no matter what for you, do this with a goal that you've had a hard time hitting, okay? It still plays the same way. So go with a goal that you've had a hard time hitting. For this example, we use Success Club. How many times have you guys come up short on Success Club? And you've had all these reasons and things go on in your mind on why it hasn't happened, right? This can be for any goal, but for Success Club, right? Like in the left circle, I'm going to rapid fire through a couple of things that we say to ourselves. But I want you to write anything else, any other stories that you say in your mind about why it didn't happen or your feelings at the time, right? So would you agree, in the left circle under your story about what happened, you say things like, I didn't have time, or I don't know if I can do it. And actually write all these out. I didn't know if I can do it. Or I need this to work, and if I don't, I won't get what I want. Or people always say no to me at the last minute. Or I always wait until the last minute and I just come up short. Or every time I try, it doesn't work. Or I need to do it, but I don't know if I can. Or why are they able to do it and I'm not? And write down any other reasons why you have come up short on your goal that you play around in your mind. Write down any other reasons right now in that left circle that play around in your mind on why you missed your goal. 10 more seconds or so. Write down anything that you can think of. Okay, so look at that left circle. When you look at that circle and you're staring at it, how the hell do you solve that? Right? Like, if you're looking at that circle, how isn't that just intense and overwhelming and stressful to even figure out how to solve all of those things on that sheet of paper? Right? How do you even compute that? And it makes you want to go into shutdown mode, right? But what really happened? Let's say you went for Success Club and all these things went through your mind. At the end of the day, under the fact of the situation, what actually happened? The only thing, and write this in the right circle, the only thing that's actually true is I didn't hit Success Club. Write that in the circle. I didn't hit Success Club. That's literally it. That is the only fact of the entire situation. And which one do you know how to solve like that? Second one, right? Under the fact. What's the solution to hitting Success Club, right? I didn't hit Success Club. What's the solution? Invite more people. Cool. Solve your problem. Study how to invite. Cool. Solve your problem, right? All that stress could have been completely avoided if you just focus on the fact. That's it. Just focus on the fact of the situation. Get rid of the stories playing around your head because they're not true and it's impossible to solve all that. That leads to overwhelm. That leads to shutdown, right? Because all that happened was you didn't hit Success Club. You didn't hit Diamond. You didn't hit 2-star. Accept it as the past and move on. What happened, happened. What didn't happen, didn't happen. Is that part clear so far? That's making sense, right? You need to accept the fact of the situation, not your stories. So now draw 2 more circles, 2 more big circles. And above the left circle, I want you to label it attachment. And above the right circle, I want you to label it commitment. Attachment above the left, commitment above the right. When you're in the state of living in that story, right? All those things playing in your head about why you didn't get to a goal. And you're in the state of mind of this absolutely must happen or I'm a bad leader. Or if it doesn't happen, I'm a failure. And you attach your self-worth to a goal and you're in Storyville, right? And you're in just don't even know how to solve the problem. What emotions do you feel regularly? And I'm going to rapid fire through these, but write as many as you can in that left circle under attachment. Would you agree when you're in that state of mind that you feel, let me pull up my list, wouldn't you feel stress, anxiety, guilt, fear, sadness, shame, should have, unhappy, trapped, faithless, victim, passionless, forcing, mad, angry, depressed, scarcity, doubtful, lazy, ungrateful, comparison, I can't. How many of you guys have ever actually, like that's a common occurrence. You feel that way on a regular basis when you miss a goal and you become so attached to a goal. Raise your hand if you've ever felt that way, right? Most of us should be raising our hands because we live in this state of attachment, right? We live in this state of mind where this needs to happen or I'm not going to be happy. And take a second, list off any other emotions you feel right now, 5-10 seconds in that left circle when you're in a state of attachment. My question to you is, what if you let it go? What if you just chill and you be okay and happy either way? So we equate so much fear to not hitting these goals, right? Think about where that fear came from. Like we're not wired to be happy, we're wired to survive. And our brain is always looking for things to protect us from. This same brain was around when we were worried about a saber-toothed tiger eating our baby, right? Like way back in the day. Well, that same fear, that same protection is the same fear we use when we post on Facebook now. And we go for a goal now. And we think of, if I don't hit Success Club, we literally equate the same fear. If I don't hit Success Club, a saber-tooth tiger is going to eat my baby, right? Like, the same doesn't even make sense, right? Like, but that's the type of fear. Like, what if we let that go? What if we chill and we be okay knowing we're going to be fine either way, right? If you miss Success Club, did you die? Right? Like, what if you become committed to achieving your goals, really committed to achieving your goals, but not having your self-worth be dependent on those goals? What if you were committed to Diamond, committed to Success Club, committed to Elite? And what if every single day you made a decision right now on this call to focus on loving the process of who you're becoming instead of waiting for happiness when you reach a goal? Think about that. What if you love the process of what it's teaching you? Even when you miss a goal, it's still a good thing, right? Because you love how you're growing. You do it because of growth, not because of the outcome. What if that's why you go for a goal? What if you become committed instead of attached? And think about it. If you are so excited by the feedback and process and of who you're becoming and learning and growing along the way, and you're committed to a goal, what type of emotions would you feel on a day-to-day basis? Would you agree? Let me pull up my list. Write these in the right circle. Would you agree that you feel passion, energy, enthusiasm, happiness, drive, health, vitality, growth, progress, unstoppable, feeling like you can, possibility, alive, belief, excitement, abundance, smiling again, that's good for you, by the way, freedom, forgiveness, capability, trust, greatness, resourceful, pumped up, and happy? Think about that. And when you look at those two, and write down any other ones in that circle that you can think of, when you're in a state of just loving the process of what you're growing into, regardless of the outcome, write down any other emotions that you feel on a second-to-second basis in that right box right now. 10 seconds. So let me ask you this. When you look down at those two circles, attachment with all the crappy emotions and commitment with all the good emotions, which of those two circles are you more likely to solve a problem from? Commitment. Which of those two circles are you more likely to come up with great social media content from? Commitment. Which of those two circles are you more likely to send a passionate, loving invite from? Commitment. Which of those two circles are you more likely to find the solution to the problem that's been in your business? Commitment, right? Guys, when you're in attachment and your self-worth is dependent upon a goal for you to be happy, right? Like, or you are living in Storyville, it means that a result isn't present yet and you're dependent upon that result to be happy. It's almost like the result is at the top of a mountain and you won't be satisfied or happy until you get there. But when you're in commitment, you get a result every day because every single step you appreciate the beauty around you on the way to the top of that mountain, right? When you're in commitment, you get a result every second of every day. Even if you fail, you still get a positive result because you're growing. You're learning about the process of who you're becoming, right? You remember that feeling of trying to force yourself to do this, but you just don't have that energy or desire or want or drive? That goes away instantly and you become on fire because every bit of feedback, even when you miss goals, is all of a sudden positive. When you're in attachment, you're constricting energy from other people. And I bet you know it if you're doing it. I bet you know in your heart if you are that negative Nancy that sucks the life out of the room. Good news is that you can change. It's literally a choice, right? You're constricting energy from people. No wonder people are saying no. If you're in that state of attachment, you're desperate, right? You're desperate for them to say yes. And you're not going to be happy unless they do. Then don't they feel like a pawn, right? In your scheme to get people signed up? But if you're in commitment, you're generating energy and you're causing excitement in other people's lives. And you make other people feel amazing every single day. All of a sudden, they don't care that it's $160. They just want to be part of your life, right? That's what commitment does. When you're in attachment, your happiness is at the effect of life, meaning at the top of that mountain. When you're in commitment, your happiness causes life. And that is a whole new way to live. So be committed to your goal, not attached. And all of a sudden, It's a lot more fun to set goals. It's a lot more fun to be a coach, right? It's a lot easier to build this business because every single day, regardless of the outcome, you love the process of who you're becoming. So we have to get rid of that voice. And I know everyone, including myself, we have these negative beliefs, right? Negative beliefs that we tell ourselves. And if you're like me, no matter how much you try to convince yourself that things are great, there's still that little voice in the back of your mind just sitting like, he's like really quiet, but he's like right back here that laughs at you and says, yeah, right, buddy, you're still worthless, right? Like, you know that little guy, he just kind of hangs out. You can barely hear him, but he's just whispering. Every time you set a big dream or a big goal, he goes, right? Like you barely hear him. You know what I'm talking about, right? Raise your hand here if you've ever felt or said to yourself, you've ever said to yourself in your life or consistently now, why don't I have enough money? Or why am I so lonely? Or why don't people like me? Or how come I always screw it up? Or why am I so fat? Keep the hands going, guys. Let's be vulnerable here. Or why am I so broke? Or why do I never catch a break? Or why does this only happen to me? Or why is it so much easier for other people? Why can't I do anything right? Why am I so unhappy? You guys are dicks to yourself like that. like really think about that. Like, how many of you guys are mean to yourself like that? And how many of you guys will listen to personal growth, read books, listen to audios, and no matter how much amazing stuff you flood your mind with, which helps, there's still a little bitty voice right there, still that little guy. And he just says, yeah, right. No matter how much someone tells you that you can have success with this, there's a little bitty voice. It says, no, you can't. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, one thing I've learned in my life is that my life is a direct reflection of my thoughts. And whatever happens out there in the world happens first up here, right? And when you set goals, you're trying to create a new reality as opposed to your current reality. That's what goal setting is. And until you actually believe you can achieve that, it's very hard to create that new reality. Like, there's a huge gap in the middle of where you are and where you want to be. And the reason that's such a big gap, I learned this from Noah St. John in the Book of Affirmations. Make sure you guys get that book. It's amazing. There's a gap there. And the reason for that gap is because most of us don't actually believe that we can hit our goals. That's the truth. Most of us don't actually believe that we can have the things that we want. And no matter how many times we set goals, like how many of you guys have ever gone through a goal setting workshop and you write down all the things that you want, but in your mind you're going, that'll never happen, right? No matter how many times you set goals, it doesn't change the fact there's that little voice. So what I learned from this book is when you ask yourself a question, your brain automatically looks for the answer, okay? So close your eyes and ask yourself this. Why can I not hit Success Club? Or actually, why is it so hard to hit Success Club? Ask yourself that right now. Close your eyes, say, why is it so hard to hit Success Club? Even if you hit it regularly, what did you do? Do you notice that your brain actually tried to look for reasons why it's hard to hit Success Club? And just like that, it's like Google, right? It spits out all the reasons why you can't do it. Think about that. And when you focus on, even if you're focusing on a goal, like I just don't want to be fat anymore, or I just don't want to be diamond anymore. When you focus on that, you're literally focusing on what you don't want. I don't want to be diamond anymore, right? Instead of, I want to be 2-star. Totally different world. Whatever you focus on becomes reality. When you say, I don't want to be fat anymore, when you say, I don't want to be diamond anymore, you're literally asking for more of that to come into your life. And that's what you focus on. That's what you create. So what if you reversed it, right? Instead of telling yourself that you always hit Success Club or trying to convince your mind that you're amazing, knowing that little voice is going to laugh at you, even though you are amazing, what if you just ask your mind a different question, right? Your brain's looking for the answer to whatever you ask it anyways. So you might as well ask it a smarter question that's going to lead to a better result, right? Ask and you shall receive. So if you're saying, why is it so hard to hit diamond, or why is it so hard to be a coach? Ask and you shall receive. You're literally getting what you're asking for, right? You're causing it yourself. Lately, we've been probably asking for bad results. That's what I did for 2.5 years. Why is my business stuck? How many times have you guys ever said that? Why is my business stuck? Right? Why is it so hard to lose weight? What does your brain do? It focuses on all the reasons why it's so hard to lose weight. Why is it so hard to hold diamond? Focus on all the reasons why it's so hard to hit diamond. And so you don't do it. No matter how many amazing opportunities come your way, you find a way to self-sabotage. A to B, B to C, something happens in life, sends you right back to A. So if you reverse it and you say, and you close your eyes and say, why is it so easy to hit Success Club? And you ask yourself that on a regular basis. Why is it so easy to hit Success Club? Why is it so easy to hit Diamond? What does your brain do? It looks for the answer to what you want instead of what you don't want. And you don't have to have the answer to your question. That's not what this is about. It's about asking the right questions that will help guide you to the answer that will lead to a better life. So for your life and your business, your homework coming out of this call, besides just the attachment commitment exercise, is write down all of the negative things you ask yourself on a day-to-day basis. Right when we get off of here, write down all the negative things you ask yourself on a day-to-day basis. Why am I so broke? Why is my business not growing? Why am I stuck? Why am I so unhappy? And I want you to flip that on its head. And I want you to ask yourself an empowering version of that question. Instead of why am I so broke, it's why am I so wealthy. Instead of why am I stuck or why is my business not growing, it's why is my business booming. Why is it so easy to hit Success Club? Why am I so happy? Why am I so grateful? And I want you to write those out on little Post-it notes. I want you to post it all over your house. All over your house. Because what you're going to do is start to program your mind to look for the right answer. Because your brain is looking for what you're asking it 100% of the time anyways. So you might as well be smart and ask it the right questions that will lead to a better life. So let's close up. And I want to be totally real with you. My business tanked this year. Totally tanked. Lost half of my business this year. And when you face those challenges, it's hard, right? It's emotionally tough. What we talked about, pain is guaranteed, but suffering is optional. You have 3 choices when those things happen in your business. 1, you can quit. That's number 1. Raina's got the cancellation form. It's in the online office. You can quit. You can give up. You can eliminate yourself from this community of growth and just keep living life. That's option 1. Option 2, you can stay in the same spot, right? You can find yourself afraid. You can find yourself comparing. You can wake up with the same struggles that like I did a couple of years from now. You can wake up in the same spot in life. That's number 2. Wake up having the same bad day. Or number 3, you can grow. You can take action. You can do something about your future. You can be grateful. You can run your own race and stop comparing. You can be committed, not attached. You can ask yourself the right questions that lead to a better life. But the reality is there's never going to be a right time to do this. How many of you guys have ever noticed that every time you decide to go big with any goal, Beachbody business, every time you've tried to step it up a notch, the second you do, life tries to get in the way, right? It's almost like life is waiting for you to go for something so it can laugh at you. How many of you guys have ever experienced that? Guess what? Unless you keep going through that and push beyond that, it's always going to keep happening, right? Anytime you try, your ego is going to show up and try to keep you safe. It's going to try to pull you back. It's going to try to say, no, you need me. You need the old you. You need me to stay here. Every time you try to go for something big, that's going to happen. So what you need to do is to realize that is just your ego trying to protect you from pain. It's not the real you. You don't need that old you. You need the stronger you, the you that's going to break through C and get to D. Something else is going to come up in life when you go for it, and I can guarantee you that fears are going to come in the way. A to B, B to C, this is where you get tested when you're at C. When that wall of self-sabotage happens, do you do that old pattern and go right back to A, or do you finally break through and stick with it? There's never going to be a right time to break through that wall and finally get to D. And all that time that you spend waiting and just trying to find the all of life never comes to you, which by the way is never happening. That's never going to happen in your life. When you spend that time waiting, you could have been giving this gift of growth and health and financial freedom to other people. That time is going to pass anyways. So when is now a good time for you to do it? Because this opportunity is way too good. It is way too amazing. And if you decide to fall in love with the process of who you're becoming and love every single day, even when goals don't go your way, you can be happy and enjoy every single part of it. This business isn't convenient though. It's adding something onto your life in the beginning so you can take things away from your life later. There's something in your gut that says, I'm supposed to be here. right? Something in your gut, no matter how many times you self-sabotage, there's a reason why you are on this call instead of doing something else. Something in your heart knows this is for real. And you're going to get faced with all of those situations we talked about in this call. And you can either face them and grow your mindset. You can stay in the same spot, or you can give up. I hope you face them, because I did. And now I'm the happiest I've ever been, even though my business took a dive. And that is leading to more positive, loving, caring, growth-oriented people coming into my life, the right people for my business, because I'm happy through the shit, right? I'm happy through it all. So remember this stuff, because the opportunity is knocking on your door. And we have the greatest business in the world with the greatest products in the world. You don't have to have the same schedule as Raina, but you have to stand for something yourself. You have to create a standard of excellence for yourself. You are not minimum people. And hear me loud and clear right here. Every single time you pretend you're working your business, but really you're just avoiding the behaviors that will build it, it's the same thing as looking your spouse in the eye and saying, sorry, you weren't worth my time. That's what you're doing every time you pretend to build instead of actually doing the scary things. So give yourself more than the minimum here. Give your family and your kids more than the sorry, you weren't worth it to me. Give your future more here. You're not minimum people, or Raina would have never recruited you to be part of this team, right? Or if Raina's not your coach, your leader would have never recruited you to be part of this team. So make your time on this worth it for you and your family. Do the things when no one's watching, not just because this call is here. Do it because you are a leader and you lead by example yourself first. This call is not going to be here tomorrow, right? Super Saturday Summit, that's not all going to be there every day. You have to decide to do it for you, for your why, for your purpose, and face all those fears that lead to that wall of self-sabotage. And when you face them, don't just face them, kick them in the throat, because you and your family deserve a better future. And finally draw a line in the sand, guys. Draw a line and realize that just because you signed up as a coach on your team does not mean you actually started coaching. You need to realize that. When is your actual start date that you decide that you're going to change your future? And when you visually step across that line, there's no going back. And all of a sudden you take ownership of every action. All you do, guys, all we do, we expand our network, we share on social media, we run great challenge groups, we invite people to pay this forward, and we show them what we did. Your current job and raising kids is way freaking harder than what we do, right? Just do those simple skills. You already know what to do. And when you do that, when you guys dive into that and you focus on being truly grateful every day, ask yourself the right questions every single day, focus on commitment and the person you're becoming, and you stop comparing instead of what most people do, which is shrink their dreams down because of a failed attempt or what society tells them they should do or their current life circumstances. You do the opposite and you grow something amazing that gives your family and your future and so many other people the life that they never imagined possible, full of health and vitality and freedom. So Raina, I will turn it back over to you, my friend. I'm happy to take questions. I got another call in like 7 minutes, but I'm happy to take questions until then.
I'll allow like two questions. Anybody have any questions? You can unmute. I just want to say, the freaking beginning, like one of the quotes that you said was, pain in your life is guaranteed, suffering from that pain is your choice. That was perfection, honestly. And that stuck with me, and I'm going to use that going forward forever because that hit home. That's a really good quote. Really, really good quote. Yeah. Nobody has questions for Brad? Can I also add that one thing that I was thinking about towards the end of this call as you were going through, the quit or stay in the same spot or grow and take action, like our team has taken a hit with all this other network marketing companies and things like that. Not just a hit in numbers, but a hit emotionally with some close people leaving and things like that. And you know what? This call reminded me that they weren't in the place that we are. You know what I mean? They're not ready to work on that mindset thing. They were willing to quit versus put in the work and effort and work on themselves and change people's lives that way. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I needed this call. And I had a lot of people in group threads being like, I think Lisa was like, get him out of my head. Like, how's he in my head? It was awesome. So I appreciate it. No questions? We'll let you go then. We won't keep you any longer and let you get some time before your next call. So thank you so freaking much for everything. I really appreciate it. It was awesome, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Raina. Have an awesome night, guys.
Thank you. Bye.